We are at Toad Nursery with Sheena Paulus, the founder, one of my friends, my associates, my stakeholders, my colleagues in crime. And it's the start of the Chad Yogi Podcast on Omni Wellness Media. We're very, very excited to be here. Today we're going to be talking Sheena Paulus and Toad Nursery. Sheena, how's it going? Don't be so shy. Don't be so shy.
Because the minute you say camera is rolling, then everything changes inside of me. Then it's like all eyes on me type of thing. I think everyone has that feeling inside, but otherwise I'm good.
It's the first podcast, and
yes, I'm realizing it's actually your first, and it's quite big.
You
so
made
good.
it happen, because I was going to make it happen last year already. And then you messaged me to come say hi, and then I was like, hey, we need to make something happen in 2024.
Correct.
And here we are.
Yes.
Tell us about this beautiful place, Toad Nursery.
Woo!
So in a nutshell, you can elaborate later.
Nutshell. It is one of the most auspicious places in Cape Town that's continuing to grow. It's a plant nursery. Started the nursery about 18 months ago. Started with vegetable seedlings, and it's grown since then into flower seedlings and plants, full-grown plants and chili plants and all kinds of stuff. So Toad Nursery started out by me putting together a business plan based on research that I did for greenhouse growing, and from there it just materialized into renting space in Philippi, getting a grant from the Department of Agriculture as a startup grant for inputs that I needed. And that helped me through the entire journey. Every day I'm very grateful for that. And so what Toad is mainly, we're a grower now. We grow whatever's in season. Also when people ask for things, I'm open to growing things. That's why I experiment with everything. I think every seedling that I have grown it out to a full plant. 2024 has kicked off with we are doing it. We started a vegetable garden where we are going to apply organic, moving into the agro space. There is no waste happening at the moment. We've gone down to now zero waste. We're making our own compost now. All our plant waste gets converted into compost. We've got any vegetable trays that are overgrown, we are growing it out now. I don't think we've seen our garden, Chad.
I'm love to see. You're going to show me after?
I know we just got here. So basically, our seedlings that are either overgrown, they are grown into the ground now. We are nourishing the ground with additional mulch and compost, and we will not be applying any chemicals to it. There is already a market for organic products. None of our products are going to waste. Although a lot of the waste has turned into a great form of social impact by me donating millions and millions and millions of seedlings. And it's the best feeling ever, because I get to see and witness what people have done with those seedlings that were going to go into the bin. I'm going on and on and on.
No,
is it fine?
I mean, that's amazing.
Is it okay?
Open up,
okay.
Talk. You know what we hate is when we see an interview or podcast where the interview interrupts, so we just talk, and then from there we guide the conversation based on what you said. What sticks out to me is how we formed our relationship, because you are actually one of our donors. You donated to our Valley of Plenty project, our Kai Kolpe project, as well as the project we started at Where Rainbows Meet. So what has that experience been like, taking whatever you have in excess and donating it to communities? What change have you seen?
So what that's been like for me is the funny thing is that when I started the project and not knowing anything about agriculture, because I never studied anything, so starting new and then learning lessons, meaning that within the first few months of growing I had a lot of waste. There was an oversight with the sowing, which ended up in trays and trays of vegetable and herb seedlings being overgrown, and I didn't have capacity to plant it out or to sell it, because I was so busy in the beginning when I started, because I was focused on my retail client that I signed up. And I remember standing here and putting all of these massive trays that was taking up the space in the tunnel, I put them outside.
When was the project started?
I started my first delivery in July of 2022. So prior to that, from March up until July, I was busy with the planning and then facilitating the execution of that, what we grow, how much we grow. And by the time that was done, the first order was ready 1 July. And then from there, the orders were consistent. There was a bulk order that was in place every month. So I remember just being very focused on that. Then coming back and seeing, oh, the trays are big, and oh, this stuff is big, and why is there so much of this? But not paying too much attention to the point where it became an issue, and I had to look at it. And then I put all the trays outside, looked at the value, and I didn't know what to do with it. But I was advised that I need to dump it. That's the general rule. At the time, there was no thinking of composting. I wasn't in that game. I wasn't going to think of it anyway. I was just overwhelmed with the situation. So what I'm trying to say is that I remember when I decided to shift into agriculture, into this market, I made it very clear to myself, and part of my vision board and my intention was that every single interaction that I have, whether it's in business or personal, well, especially in business, because in business we have the opportunity to make a difference, to have an impact. So my projects would have a social impact linked to it. So when I did the business plan for the greenhouse tunnels, and I'm going to grow tomatoes, everything was relating to there'd be a portion of the profits when I get to that stage that would then go back into the community, and there would be a community impact. At the time, this was in 2019 or 2018 when I put the vision board together, I didn't realize or comprehend any of what has physically manifested. However, I did set the intention that the social impact must be felt through every project that I take on. So with that being said, in that moment of seeing all these massive overgrown trays and not knowing what to do, I just realized to just give it away. I then realized, but you actually know a lot of community gardens. I was already associated with a few schools because prior to the project developing, I was doing community work. So like Pete, I met Pete before all of this happened. I met Kenneth before all of this happened. So when we met, it was put out those times. Okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to help you with this when I get to that place. And here I am at that place. And I was realizing, oh my God, I'm at that place. I can actually give this away to schools, to community gardens, and they can benefit from it. I didn't get too excited about it because that was just quite a bit of a relief, because there was one issue taken care of in the business. Then, by giving it away and then also growing some of it at home and here at the nursery in bags, falling more and more in love with how plants grow and the different types of plants, I then had people come back with pictures, I would get calls 6 o'clock in the morning with thank yous, because these seedlings all went into communities that actually need it. They need it most because it speaks and it directly aligns with food security, because I have myself felt what it's like to when you grow your own food and then you cut your own food and you taste your own food, what that means for the transaction in nature. It shifts how you see life and how you respond to life. So the quickest way you want to rehabilitate someone, you put them in a garden and you see the difference. Everyone in the agriculture sector, or most people that's working, especially in the permaculture area, has got that sort of same mindset of exchange, and there's never waste, there's never taken too much, never taken for granted. And the best part is I've seen what's happened at Valley of the Plenty. I've seen the garden flourishing. I've seen how the kids, the hundreds of kids they have seen what a plant can do. Those kids planted those seedlings. They have witnessed what that seedling has produced. Whether they living through gunshots and through poverty, somewhere in their new DNA, which we all have, that we can all recreate, we have implanted new information that can never be taken out of them. The minute you can grow your own food, there is no such thing as I am poor. When you can grow and you can see what one seedling does and how it multiplies, then when I say I am grateful for the abundance that I am surrounded by and that I get to experience every day, then I swear to God, there we go. It's all of this and outside. And then me giving away and still having a business that's constantly growing, flourishing. I'm not even putting in that much work to get out there. I'm strategic about the brand. I'm strategic about the quality. I've seen what an overgrown seedling does. Yeah, that will give. I've got chili plants second year. That stuff was in a seedling tray growing like that. It's a plug the size. The minute you put them in a bigger space, better environment, what do you think? Same with us. Change the environment, we adapt. So it's about creating good, healthy, organized, structured environments, seeing how that plays out in business, how it plays out in the staff. Like the staff, all the donations they pack up. You must remember they're interacting with all these people coming here, blessing us. Thank yous, bless your business. And then there's people is coming back saying, look at all my rocket. These guys are all previous offenders. They've got their own garden, Camp Joy.
Yes.
Craven is picking up on a weekly basis. He picks up. He's the first person I think of, and I know he's got a nice garden. They are eating out of their Chad. So for me, it's like that's probably been the best feeling out of now starting to experience what the word fulfillment is, and then being in the right place at the right time, and also using my own skills that I know that I'm good at and using it in the right areas. And then also realizing that, you start out with saying, you want to do good. And then as you see what the work that lies ahead, it actually goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Because it's one thing just to keep giving. But we actually have more problems in the world that we have to still work on. Yes. You can just cut that Moorse part.
No, we'll keep that part.
No, but we've got really massive in terms of issues in society, and if we want to do work and impact, yes, we've impacted, but we want to do real impact and continue, then I'm still at a space where I'm still understanding how the world is being operated, and by deepening that understanding, I'm able to now see that whoever the benefactor is, that impact is felt not just by giving them a seedling and then walking away, but there must be some form of continual. They must either be able to come back and rely on us for information, for anything, whatever they're struggling with, they can always just come back to that.
How important is the educational part of things? Because I know in the Valley of Plenty, for example, we get the donations, we put it into the ground, but then people have their own lives, and I don't think they as conscious or as educated about permaculture, not just in the valley but people in general. I love the social impact side of things. I think it's super important, and we give thanks that we have entrepreneurs that are conscious and that are implementing the permacultural philosophies. But a question I have, how do we make this more sustainable? Is there any education, or what is the missing link to create more sustainable projects? Like at the Valley of Plenty, for example, to get the people to continue. What do we do? Or is that a bit too much of a heavy question?
No, it's not. I have Albertina and I, we go way back to before all of this, before COVID even. So we would always talk about, this is what we're going to do, let me first share who Albertina is. She is, the Gogo that you've been working with on that projects. Have you worked with her on the projects?
I've seen a lot of our
Oh, okay,
work.
no,
We
sorry.
work in the same area, but not in the same garden.
Yeah, but I think all the projects you've worked, like Sea
Yes.
and Rainbows,
Yes.
she's been at those places, so that's why there's that mutual connection. So point is that Albertina works actively in the Vrygrond community, Vrygrond Capricorn community, and she has done many gardens prior to COVID, and then now since we've met, she set up a garden at a daycare center, Sunrise. I've got before and after pictures of what, I think she's in her 70s, what this woman does.
Wow.
Single-handedly. She doesn't get anyone to help her. She does the physical work. She cleans the ground because she knows how it must be done. She plants all these overgrown seedlings. And again, you've got a creche full of kids running through there. Spinach, chilies, peppers, all they're seeing it, they're harvesting it, they're benefiting from it. Okay. So she carries on doing this now. And she's got permaculture experience. And every time I've engaged with Albertina over the years, she's the type of person that when she does something, she does it right. Because of her age, I think more so that she can show you what needs to be done and how it needs to be done.
With experience.
With experience. She's one person I'm blessed or fortunate to have in my life and to work with because of her principles that she has, her integrity, Chad. What I was trying to say is that we have very little people in those communities that has that sort of integrity to actually carry out and then maintain and then sustain. But there are people like that because even in Albertina's case, she's got another piece of land that there was absolutely nothing on there, just weeds and grass, cleaned out everything. She's got a full-blown garden going, full-blown. She can harvest. She even donated 2 rainbows the other day. And that was all my waste that she took, which is seedlings, a couple of grow medium bags, and she turned an entire space into
A living space.
a living space. She can eat out of it. She can sell and earn from it, because that's the other thing. And I feel like a lot of not a lot of communities, in all our communities, if we can have more people like that who can drive those sort of things, and then those people are supported. The main thing is they need to be supported. If they are not supported, then they cannot really do what they want to do. But there's a clear passion and desire in her to want to improve the community she lives in through agriculture, through growing, through teaching. So the point I'm trying to make is that she came into, now she's part of the nursery, and she shows the other ladies and the other staff consciously, unconsciously, how a standard of work is. She doesn't start something and then take a break. She finishes something. We have never discussed it as in, did you see this? Everyone has just observed and seen the result of the woman's hand. And when I say the woman's hand, it's like she has taken a bunch of chilies that I was ready to dump at 10 rand a bag. She has turned that chilies around, and I've sold it for 7,500 rand.
Yeah. So there is absolute abundance.
It's like her mindset is we waste nothing. Is she here? I'm talking about her. Oh my God! I'm just
find her now?
yeah. I think she's behind me. She's busy trying out herbs. Also, we waste nothing, Sheena. We must be resilient, Sheena. That's her words. More so, lead by example. We have to lead by example. So we have to be the example. Then we have to try and educate, empower, help people in that way, as many as we can, so that can keep growing. And by that, then we keep that growing, because we need more of that, because there's a lack of that. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So sustainability, it's a whole mindset. So you shift the people's thinking, and then that becomes it's not, you can't, sustainability is not like a switch that's going to happen and
Yes.
now we're going to be sustainable by doing something. I am becoming, every day, I still become more and more aware of what that actually means. And it's just deep and simple as don't waste nothing. Start with that, waste nothing. Whatever you're doing, whether you are drinking water, walking, talking, eating, planting, throwing in the bin, whatever you're doing, is there a waste factor to it? Does it take too much? Is it unnecessary to say the same thing over and over, Chad?
Yes.
Do you know how many times I stopped saying, I learned that a few years ago, but then I realized in that learning how much times we would say something in a conversation and then we'll have that and we'll just repeat it again and then it's a waste of time, energy. That's also waste. We've got work to do.
I feel a bit guilty now because
No, why?
Because I waste.
No, don't feel
And-
guilty.
Yeah, no, man. I think guilt is also
Part of a nice way of
no,
growing.
it's like trying to tell you, hey, bro, you mustn't
You must-
do what you're doing. So I like these negative emotions because sometimes they actually
you.
teach us and awaken us to what
Yeah.
the truth is.
No, I
when
hear
you're
you.
talking about waste, something that I think we should talk about, that I think is very important, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. But plastic, everything that we get in the shops, all these processed foods, it's impossible not to waste because they come in plastic and they come in all these containers. We're paying for them, number one, which drives the cost of food up quite considerably. And then number two, we say we're going to throw them away, but you cannot throw it away. Where are you throwing it? It takes 300-400 years to disintegrate.
And it is going into landfill.
Yes. So, what's your take on the most disgusting waste, if I may call it, which is plastic?
How we can.
Yeah. What's your
Like,
take on
what
it?
is
What
it?
you feel about it? How does it make you feel? Because sometimes we also think solution, but what I like to do before I think solution, like try to think, how is this making me feel, man? Like let's look at it for what it is before
Yeah.
we get to the solution, because you also have to go through the emotional process. So, what's your take on plastic?
Well, I've stopped using plastic at home, as in plastic bags.
Yes.
I use those recycled bags, and I even use those bags to grow. My take on the plastic thing is that it's huge, it's bigger than just the conversation of what can be a solution. It takes me back in my experience of when I'm buying something. If I'm buying a plastic thing, am I going to be able to reuse it? Then I'm fine with it, because there isn't and there is no alternative to it.
Yes.
Then I'm going to make use of the product itself and what it can be used for, but I'm not going to throw it in the bin because I'm going to reuse it for something. I don't know, Chad, I don't know if we'll be around and to see if that change will ever come about where there's no zero plastic and we can use hemp for everything, and we can, we don't need to use plastic. So in business, for me, it's about becoming more and more aware. Wastage forms part of that. Is, do I buy this pot, or do I buy this pot, or do I buy that? An interesting thing is that, because Daphne and I, the whole garden thing, the whole reducing the medium that's falling here, like I said, it becomes bigger and bigger in your mind. It's a shift in your mind, which we talk about all the time, even with the staff. So whatever I'm experiencing from a sustainability awareness mindset is being shared throughout the business, which is impacting every single person because they are the business, which then they go home and then they go implement and impact that. And then they go and teach their kids, maybe their grandkids that visit, and then so one entity, TriToad, has not just impacted the 12 staff members, but also their families, just through educating ourselves on the use of things. So coming back to plastic, we try not to use, we grow in pots, and the pots are sold, and there they go. There are an issue with not recycled pots, biodegradable pots, buying them in. I did an inquiry. It's an import situation. These pots are not being manufactured here.
Which is also an issue.
It's an issue. But interestingly enough, so I emailed my supplier 2 weeks ago and I said I've decided that I'm going to go biodegradable on all my 12 centimeter pots. Because all of these pots, the plastic pots over here, they've got a lovely biodegradable pot. I think it's made of a wheat or corn, I'm not sure.
Cornstarch?
I think it could be. I read up about it when I initially found it. It's a beautiful pot. I'll find one now. And it's a green color, and so I bought a few, and I mean I've sold a few on order, but generally those are the product range is these 12 centimeter herb pots. They're sold in various herb varieties, and I said part of 2024, because we are doing the organic gardening, we are reducing our waste, we're recycling every single thing, is I would like to be the first to bring into the market the biodegradable 12 centimeter herb pots.
Amazing. Do you need a mold and some? Do you
No,
wanna,
I don't know. This is how it gets. Besides, no, I'm not going to make it. Number
Yes.
one, I'm not going to make
Just popularize it.
I would like to buy that in from my supplier now, and that is what I will be supplying to my client and whoever, knowing that they can now get a product that we all know fully well that if it does end up in the bin, it's actually it will disintegrate. So. Not that you want it to go in the bin anyway, because you can use the spot for forever and a day. That's how cute it is. But wait. I mailed them and I asked them, and they said they don't have stock. And I said, cool, when you're getting stock? No, we're not sure. It's an issue. It's going to be an issue for a long time, because you have to buy big volumes because of this, that, and that. And I said, okay, fine. I put in an order for big volume to see what they would then come up with, and they have not come back to me yet. It's been more than a week. What I'm trying to say is that those pots are not available to us as local businesses, Chad. I have to now consider, if I want to do everything green, I have to have the right supplier that I can rely on to then maintain that green cycle of shifting over to green pots. Because they are available, they're just not readily available. And it means that I should have a couple of 100,000, which I will soon have, because I'll keep raising funds to then buy in a container. So that's what I want to do. And I don't see them in the shops. I don't see why they're not in the shops. I don't see why I can't. There may be a couple of cents, if a rand, more than those plastic pots. So, like I said, I just decided that's what I'm going to do, but now I've got a bit of a delay on when I shift over to it. So I've got someone looking into buying them, importing them. Maybe my supplier is still going to get back to me with the price, but that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know how to fix the massive problem. All I know is I can bring my part, and then my part makes a difference. And then everyone else around me becomes more conscious. They bring their part. And then I don't know, like I say, I don't know if we will ever live long enough to see all the change that is still needed for our planet to actually survive.
I like
we've
that.
got lots of issues. I know there's lots. So I don't want to sound like I'm no expert on any one of those issues. All I know is that for me, sustainability means that it's just there's a no waste factor. If you use what you need, and if you listen to your body and you listen to nature and you become more aware, everything shifts. So there is no waste aspect even within yourself. And that's a process. That's the other thing. It's going to take years. I've been working on myself for 20 years, Chad. I remember starting my personal, spiritual, working on myself journey. I think I was maybe 20 years old that I actively started and said, okay, wow, okay, oh, is that how? Oh my word, I'm going to try this. But it was working on and it's taken 20 years of a lot of programming, reprogramming, a lot, and I'm still at it, and it's still, that's why I'm understanding towards the ignorance that's happening around us.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Ignorance has a negative connotation.
You understand?
But actually, if you ignore it, means you're just not paying attention to it. And we haven't been taught this. I mean, I wish when I was at school that I learned permaculture, how to grow my own food. It wasn't taught to us. And when you ask kids where they get their food from, they say it's from the store.
Yeah.
They say it's from Chickers or ShopRite. They have absolutely no idea. And then also with regards to how these foods are stored, because they have to stay in the store. That's why we have to preserve the foods. That's why we have to use this packaging. Once we grow our own stuff and we have that knowledge, I mean, it's full education, and that's why I'm so passionate about permaculture. Whenever we start a project, we always say garden first. We might not get the full scope, and it might not go as fast as you want, but it is the fundamental process. So Sheena, tell us a little bit about 2024. What's happening this year? What's exciting? What are you looking forward to?
I think the year kicked off with a bang. In 1 week, we turned one of our beds outside in the net house that I can't wait to show you. We cleaned it. Albertina, one guy cleaned it, and Albertina planted out the bed where we're growing organic vegetables. So for 2024, we're going to have an expansion in our product range. And what brought that on is that we are also, again, waste as in, am I occupying and maximizing the space that I am utilizing? So for me, you see all these open spaces, 2024, filled up. We've got agro-processing happening where all our herbs that are overgrown are now being dried out, and we're going to start our own herb range. We're going to combine it with some salts, so we're going to have different flavored salts, sage salt, rosemary salt, celery salt, so gaat het aan. So around the corner here, we've got a section now that has just taken off. I'm talking about, we're doing this, and within days I've got more staff working. And we are just going. We are going. I've got chili plants. So 2024 is about growth. It's about expansion in the product range. It's the product offering. It's about whatever we're offering, is it value? Does it offer value to the customer? And does it bring? It brings me joy. And I always take my experience, because I was a customer walking into stores buying stuff, Cape Gardens. I used to do that. And I used to know what it felt like when you're buying something. And so it's the color, the presentation, a lot of creativity goes into, or thinking goes into the creativity of our product. And a lot of pride goes into it as well. And that shows in the quality of the vegetables and the seedlings and the plugs. So 2024 is about growth, organic vegetable product range, agro-processing starting, trying out herbs, and it's just going to expand from there. Zero waste policy in effect happening. Very happy.
Tell us not necessarily about, like, obviously we know a lot about like the glass ceiling and women, but I just wanted to be positive in the sense of, because we have some content where we talk about the struggles that women have to face. But in speaking about the positive, in speaking about the positive, the negatives naturally come up, because the positive is overcoming the negative. So can you just tell us, as a woman, empowered woman, an entrepreneur, what the journey has been, and a message for the women that also want to do something similar? Because I know a lot of women are very idea orientated, nurturing. They brought life. So just about your experience as an entrepreneur, as a woman, and some positive affirmations for women.
So I think when it comes to the empowerment of women, I've always been a cheerleader, and I've been advocating for that for years now. And I host a Women's Day event once a year at least, and that is to raise awareness about this empowerment topic that we're talking about. But when you spoke about the glass house, what do you mean by that when you say that? Just quickly, what do you mean by that?
So glass ceiling is there's a certain level where it's very difficult for women to go through, or in business, or there's a certain limitation that has been set systematically and in business. And now, in a sense, women, I think the glass ceiling is being broken. Women are finding their power. They have rights, and now they can, in a sense, rise and become the CEOs, for example, become the leaders, dominate man-dominated systems.
Gosh, I don't know about that, Chad. That's also, we'll have to see if that's going to happen. I mean, it's everywhere now. It's spoken about women empowerment, and you see the Pepsi lady, and you see the Facebook lady. Those are the faces of those big companies now, right? But, another perspective, because my perspective seems to be shifting. Same thing. If I've been working on myself for 20 years, then empowerment of women and that journey forms part of it. And yes, there's been many moments and many experiences where I have been treated unfairly, abused, fine, whichever you want to call it, by the male, blah, 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 and then had the experience and then felt the inequality and then felt what that feels like. And then also for myself feel like, this is not right. Because now, this is not just words and things you're reading everywhere. You are experiencing these things in business, you're experiencing it in your relationships with your whoever, people in general, because women are so undervalued that becomes an even deeper thing. So now we're talking about business specifically. I don't know any other woman that's in the same business space. And I've been around, I've done some research, I've gone to farms way before I started, didn't come across anyone. There are women in the sector, yes, that may be farming in agriculture, like chickens or something else. Point is that there's very little of them, but if you needed help with something now, even if I needed help with something, logistics or something I didn't know about 20 years ago, let's keep it there, then you'd pick up the phone and you'd speak to a guy. The guy's the one who knows. The men know. They've got the information of how things worked and how it was. Yeah, that's just the way it was. And now women have come into, I don't think it's like an empowerment thing where it becomes an ego empowerment thing, because I think there's a little bit of a fine line there where yes, we nurture this, we this, we that. But if you want to build a business, you have to go work on yourself first. And working on yourself means, for me, it's not about a male or a female. It's about being or choosing to be a good human being. What I'm trying to say is, Chad, there's been a shift in, I don't want to be advocating this women empowerment thing to a point where we're not talking about the men as well. I don't know why. I just feel like it's because it's not about women and men for me, it's about humans. And because there's so many human beings that we are interacting with that's going through that same struggle. Because men also, especially because now we're going to go into race now, we're going to go into color, and then we're going to talk about in slavery and all those sort of stuff. Then me and you talk my equal, Chad. Do you understand?
You waste time.
We are equal in that we were still given that set of whatever we were given back then. Yes, we do our own thing now and we empower ourselves through our own journeys, but we also still come from a way of how things were expected to be done, and man and woman and this and that. Now we think differently, and the world is just having to change with that. Point is that I see so many men and women, mostly males, actually struggling more. The women come together, they talk. I don't see that for men, maybe they do, but I've seen many men in my journey who struggles, which tells me that here's the other thing that it brought me to, when I talk about shift your perspective. When it comes to you are responsible for every single thing that's happening. When I say you, as in every single one is responsible for everything that's happening in our planet, in our world, whatever. And what that really means is that, for me, what it really means for me is that where do men come from?
From women.
Every single person must be treated fairly. And that starts at home. And it's difficult even because in our families, we were taught that women must go dish the food, Sheena moet Chad se kos gaan skep. That's the way we were raised. Women just started realizing, but where's the free will in this? I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's where I'm at in terms of seeing my role as a woman in business, yes. And it would be nice if there were more women out there that I could rely on. But at the same time, all I know is that my journey or my purpose now becomes that I have to be that I need for someone else. I'm blessed. Yeah. So now, whatever I needed, if I needed a mentor in business, a female, I'm going to now become that person for so many other people. And that's where the change, it starts with you and not with what happened or... so it shifts for me all the time. In that it doesn't feel unfair anymore. It just feels like I start to see it for what it is. And when you see it for what it is, then there isn't a male female happening. It's actually finding the balance. And finding the balance means you must look into both to understand what's happening on both of those spheres. Women have got equal opportunities now. I think that if I'm sitting here now and I didn't have work and I looked for work and I looked for business opportunities and all I did was persevere and I didn't give up on myself, because it comes back to your work that you do on yourself. I was told you can't do it. What are you smoking? Why are you doing this? It's never gonna happen. I was told you're wasting your time. And then I was told go find a job. And then I went to go look for a job. I couldn't find. I kept on persevering. Persevering really just means you must get to know yourself enough to know that when you're going through the struggle, you must be okay to know why that is there. If you know that you can be okay within yourself because there's this happening, you've mastered the art of how you feel and how you react to the situations around you. That's a personal journey that every entrepreneur, every person must do, but more so entrepreneurs, because we always, this is the other thing about perspectives and how it can shift just by a different conversation. Unemployment. How many conversations have you heard, have you engaged in, have you seen headlines, unemployment rate, South Africa? So when we see that, when we talk about that, now we see it, it's here. Now we're verbally talking about it, that's a karma you're pushing out, an energy. Now Chad's talking about the unemployment and I'm talking and Sylvie prating. All you're doing is you're perpetuating unemployment, but we're expecting change to happen. But what we're actually talking, what we're vibrating, what we're sending out is that we all want the change, but we're perpetuating that. So our minds are constantly talking about the unemployment. So here's a different shift.
Unemployment vibration as well.
Yes, also because you're feeling for someone else that's unemployed, because you're reading about the unemployment. It makes your whole thinking and vibration. It puts you in a certain state. Let's put it. Would you agree to me?
Yeah, I feel unemployed.
If you see, yeah, right? Now here's the thing. How many entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. I didn't have an income for 2 years almost, no work. I now am able to feed myself. I've employed up to 12 max, 12 and then 15 max on a rotation of people. So that's, call it 12 families. 12 families that none of them had jobs, right? One person, one Sheena, who pushed through, because you have to understand, you have to push through. So one Sheena has now created 12 jobs. My point is this: we focus on the unemployment. Government also tries to put in grants and for the youth and all. You're focusing all on the wrong stuff. If you focus on empowering entrepreneurs, if you empower one entrepreneur, what's that entrepreneur going to give up? 12 to 15 people, one person? Now you do the math. That's how you do it that way. We are focusing on the wrong thing. That's why it's perpetuating all the cuck results that we're getting, and it will stay like that. When I was in youth, it was about the unemployment rate. God, I was in matric and I was already worried. Here, almal sê as 50% kans dat ek 'n job gaan kry nie. You don't even know what you're going to do in that time. But this is what our youth is hearing, and that's making them depressed. It's making them feel hopeless. However, if you give them a different, and allow a different conversation to happen. But there's also math in what I just said. That's me. I know of other companies that employs hundreds of people. Maybe that's old, forget the old. We're talking about, we want new ones now. Because if you're going to have one person that's going to create jobs for 10 people, that unemployment rate is going to come down like that. But focus on getting the entrepreneurs, focus on supporting them. If you want real change, you invest in them, invest in that they can make whatever they want possible, because that is how they're going to allow other people to get opportunities. All of the people that's working for me has learned. You can speak to any one of them at any time. There is equality, there we go, integrity, equality, sustainability. Those are not just words. We are living it, we are talking about it, we are teaching it. I get taught, Albertina was in his school, and that's why I say she's the most beautiful. But if we could have in Vrygrond 1, in Manenberg, and Nova Park, and they are.
We will.
And then you just support those people, because what I was trying to say, I don't know if I made the point of Albertina, is that if Albertina has land and you give her just seedlings, and she has taken that and she's turned that into hundreds of rands now, and employment for 2 people.
Yeah.
What if you give her more? What more is she capable of doing? And that's the other thing. There's a lot of people out there, and not just women, maybe women more so. I don't know. I don't play around looking at stats and stuff. But everyone is out there trying to make something of their life, to be a part of something too.
Sheena?
But women, however, because of this room, we think and we feel things. We don't just think things. Men think, and they can think and act. So same thing in business. We will bring in, same thing we learn. What I'm saying is we learn from the men. That's the other thing. I'm learning from the men. I get to see exactly how they've done business. I might not agree to how they've done it. That's not my thing, it's done, but I'm learning. So it's the same thing. Men cannot be excluded from that conversation. That's the main thing I'm trying to say, is that I can't have a conversation anymore about women empowerment without including the fact that we've got men struggling, and we need that men. Because my business don't run just on women. Even though I advocate for women, we've got men, we need our men.
I met you through the women's event that you had, and that's how we started our relationship.
Yeah.
And that's also where I met Pete, that then introduced me to the Valley of Plenty, that then changed my life, that brought me back here. So everything is in total full circle.
Correct.
And it's beautiful to come together as a community. To the community, to everyone listening, just something from your heart related to, just talk from your heart. Let us know what you feel, what you want to share with the peeps out there.
The message I would like to convey to as many people is personal development, meaning work on yourself, and grow your own food. Start a garden and grow your own food, meaning even if you have a little square meter, I'll show you what you can do in a square meter if you don't know, but grow your own food and work on yourself. That's the only message I want to convey at this stage to anybody, whether they're in business or whether they're at home or whether they are working somewhere. Work on yourself, personal development, your spirit is the most important thing. And start a garden, and then from there you'll see how your life transforms.
On that note, we want to say thank you very much, Sheena. It was our first podcast on the Chad Yogi Show on Omni Wellness Media. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening, and please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad, and Omni Wellness.
If you like the video and you want to see more, please click on one of the videos above. And if you want to share with us in the comment section below, we'd love